The medical bay of the Vanguard's Pride hummed with the sterile efficiency of Galactic Alliance technology, but nothing could mask the young Kethrin's whimpering. Vren sat on the edge of the biobed, his amber eyes fixed on the jagged line across his chest, still raw, still red beneath the regenerative gel that glistened under the harsh lights. His claws trembled. Lieutenant Arya Solon watched from the doorway, her human face unreadable. The other Kethrin warriors, massive fur-covered beings who towered over most species in the Alliance, stood at attention in the corridor. Their ears were pinned back, their tails still, waiting. The battle had been brief but brutal, a syndicate ambush in the outer reaches. Vren, barely past his naming ceremony, had thrown himself between a plasma bolt and his pack leader. The shot had carved across his chest, missing his heart by centimeters. He had survived. But survival, Arya knew, was only the beginning. She stepped into the room. The medic, a spindly Virath with too many fingers, chittered nervously. The regeneration will complete in 3 cycles. The scar can be removed entirely. No, rumbled a voice from the doorway. Pack leader Goran, his silver-streaked mane marking decades of combat, entered with the weight of authority. The mark stays. It is earned. Vren's ears flattened against his skull. His breathing quickened, shallow and panicked. The cub's gaze darted between the scar and his pack leader, then down to his own shaking hands. Paws that suddenly seemed too small, too weak. I am marked, Vren whispered, his voice breaking. In Kethrin culture, scars were sacred. They told the story of a warrior's courage, of battles survived, of honor maintained. But for one so young, for one who had never seen his own blood spilled in combat, the reality was crushing. Arya moved closer, her boots silent on the deck plating. She had served alongside Kethrins for 2 years now. She understood their ways, the pack structure, the honor codes, the reverence for battle scars. She had watched warriors compare their marks with pride, had seen elders trace the map of their lives written in scar tissue, but she had also learned something the Kethrins didn't yet know about humans. Vren, she said softly, and the cub's eyes snapped to her. Humans were small compared to Kethrins, barely reaching their shoulders, but they had earned respect across the Alliance for reasons that still puzzled the galactic community. They were weak, slow, fragile, and yet they fought with a ferocity that made predator species nervous. She knelt beside the biobed, bringing herself level with the young warrior. May I? Vren nodded, uncertain. Goran watched with narrowed eyes, curious. Arya reached out and gently touched the edge of the scar. Vren flinched but held still. The lieutenant's fingers traced the line slowly, carefully, as if committing its shape to memory. Then in a gesture that made every Kethrin in the room freeze, she leaned forward and pressed her lips to the wound. A kiss. Soft. Gentle. Reverent. Vren's breath caught. The pack in the corridor shifted, confused. Goran's tail stiffened. Arya pulled back, her dark eyes meeting Vren's amber ones. On Earth, she said quietly, when someone we love is hurt, we kiss their wounds. Not to heal them, we cannot do that. But to honor them. To say, I see your pain. I witness your courage. You are not alone in this. She placed her hand over the scar, palm flat against the regenerative gel. You threw yourself into fire to save another. This mark is not a sign of weakness, Vren. It is proof that when death came for your pack leader, you said no. And you meant it. The cub's claws slowly uncurled. Among my people, Arya continued, we have a saying, scars are just tattoos with better stories. This is your story, Vren. The day you became more than a cub. The day you became a warrior. She stood, straightening to her full height, still shorter than the seated Kethrin, but somehow filling the room. I have scars too. Want to see? Without waiting for an answer, she rolled up her left sleeve, revealing a patchwork of marks across her forearm. Burn scars, blade cuts, the telltale spiderweb pattern of shrapnel damage. This one, she tapped a long white line. I got pulling a Kethrin, your pack leader actually, out of a burning shuttle. This one, she indicated a circular burn, from pushing a child out of the way of a plasma discharge. And this, she lifted her shirt slightly, showing a brutal scar across her ribs that made even Goran inhale sharply. This one I got doing something stupid and brave. Just like you. Vren stared at the marks. They were different from Kethrin scars. Human skin healed differently, leaving paler marks against darker flesh. But they were unmistakably the same thing. Proof of battles. Evidence of survival. You humans celebrate these marks? Vren asked, his voice steadier now. We carry them with pride, Arya confirmed. Because every scar is a story where the ending is, but I lived, and that's always worth celebrating. She looked at Goran. With your permission, pack leader. The silver-maned warrior studied her for a long moment, then dipped his head. Speak. Arya turned back to Vren. Stand up. The cub slid off the bio-bed, wincing slightly. Arya stepped back and brought her fist to her chest in the Kethran salute of respect. I, Lieutenant Arya Solon of Earth, witnessed the courage of Vren, who bled so that another might live. His scar is earned. His story begins. Then she did something unprecedented. She knelt on one knee, head bowed, in the submissive posture of a lesser pack member acknowledging a superior. What are you doing? Vren breathed, confused. Honoring you, Arya said simply. Human style. The pack in the corridor stirred. Then one by one they entered the medical bay. Goran came first, placing his massive paw on Vren's shoulder. The human sees what we see, cub. You are pack. You are warrior. The others followed, each touching Vren in the traditional gesture of acceptance. Shoulders pressed to shoulders. Foreheads touched. The rumble of approving growls filled the air. But it was Arya's gesture, the strange, soft, human gesture of kissing his wound, that Vren would remember. Not because it healed anything, not because it made the fear disappear, but because it transformed his trembling into understanding. The pack gathered around him, and for the first time Vren stood among them not as a cub, but as a warrior with a story to tell. His claws steadied, his breathing evened. The scar across his chest still hurt, but now it felt different. It felt like pride. Outside the medical bay, other Alliance species watched through the viewport. A Virath whispered to a Quellan officer, "What did the human do?" What was that gesture? The Quellan, who had served with humans before, simply shook their head. That, they said, is why we do not understand them. They are soft where we are hard, gentle where we are fierce. They kiss wounds instead of displaying them, and somehow... They watched as Vren stood taller, his young chest puffed out. His fear transformed into something stronger. Somehow, it works. In the medical bay, Arya stood and met Goran's eyes. The pack leader's expression was unreadable, but his tail swayed slowly, the Kethran sign of approval. Your people are strange, Lieutenant, he rumbled. Arya smiled. We're human. We specialize in strange. You made a warrior today, Goran said, glancing at Vren, who now stood among the pack with his head held high, not with weapons, not with words of glory, but with compassion, Arya finished. On Earth, we learned long ago that the strongest warriors are not those who feel no fear. They are those who feel fear and choose courage anyway. Vren felt fear today, and we showed him that fear witnessed and accepted becomes courage. She looked at the young Kethran. That's what makes a pack strong. Not scars, not battles, but knowing that when you fall, your pack will help you stand. Vren met her eyes across the room. Then slowly he brought his paw to his chest in salute, not to a superior officer, but to a packmate. Arya returned the gesture. And in that moment, the galaxy learned something new about humanity. They did not just fight alongside you. They did not just bleed with you. They kissed your wounds and taught you to stand tall in your scars. That, the Alliance would come to understand, was the most dangerous thing about humans. They made warriors out of the wounded.